Hello, welcome back to Affirmations. I want you all to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I post. I want to thank my any new subscribers, my subscribers that's been with me from day one, as well as those of you who are swinging through. Welcome. Let's see. We always start off with me, kind of lighting the Palo Santo. Let's see if it's going to cooperate today. I have a fan in front of me, so it may not. Let me do this. Come on, lady, think it through. And again, we've talked about how a lot of times I like to use incense. I believe that, again, when we're dealing with counseling and healing emotional wounds, it is spiritual in nature. And in a lot of temples and churches, people will use candles and incense. And so I like to use that as well. Okay. Wishing everyone mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. Okay. And I'm hoping everyone has had a good week. If you hadn't had a good week, I'm hoping you can figure out one thing you can do to help things go better, okay? Let's see. So today, we're going to kind of look at one of the things we talk about as well is how even our spirituality has been affected. That has even been controlled as far as what information we are to believe or not to believe. And often talk about how some of us have the calling to knock and the door shall be open, and seek and you shall find, related to other truths, okay, that is outside of the Bible, of what they told us that we're not allowed to have access to. And so everyone has not been given that calling, okay? One of the things we want to make sure is that we do not want to shake our foundation, okay, if that is not your calling, okay? But one of the things we do have a right is to ask those questions if we have been given that kind of assignment of that knock and the door should be open, right? And seek and you shall find. So we will be using, we used this one before, it is in the description box, Spiritual Awakening 52 Universal Laws, okay? And again, we know there are all kind of laws. I always state that. There are all kind of laws that are not written in the Bible, but we know is true, and that is information that is there for mankind, right? We have science laws, different physics laws, and things of that nature, okay? And so we're going to kind of look at these and see if we feel like there's any truth to them. Some of the things we may agree with, we may not, okay? And a lot of times they use wording that we may not agree with. You simply just replace it with what you believe. And a lot of the things that you will say, I think about the scripture, there's nothing new under the sun. And so a lot of things is things that is biblically anyway. But we're going to look at some of it and see what we think. But again, exercising our right to look into things that, not being controlled, okay? Because again, that was something that was very much controlled. Even our churches were supervised and heavily monitored, okay? So let's see what we're going to get. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly pick. Oh, this is interesting. This is when talking about the law of karma. It says you are being called to a higher purpose. The law of karma. And a lot of us have heard of the word karma. And what is karma, right? Biblically, it's that, whatever you reap, you shall sow, right? What you put out, you get back, right? It's just worded a different way. But we'll hear the word karma because they've assigned it to another culture, and we go, right? But a lot of things is pretty much repeating itself, okay? So let's see what this is talking about, this law of karma. Let's see what this is talking about. And they don't have it in alphabetical order, nor do they have a number, so I have to kind of scan to kind of find that section. Where is the one, law of karma? It's probably right in my face. Let me scan my finger. Maybe going through it too quickly. Okay, this be on the first page. Let's see. There we go. Number 23. Let's see what this is talking about. Okay. So it says karma is the sum total of the choices made by the individual or the collective in the sense of, think about it, in this world Think about just the environment, certain things we may put on the earth and all be doing accidentally or on purpose. Collectively, it creates consequences, right? We talk about wildfires and different things that's going on, or resources being limited because it's overused, all right? Collective and the cosmic consciousness. So this is concept that what we're, again, life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? What we speak, right, is a type of creation. So that whole concept is even in that scripture as well. It says this includes, it talks about lifetimes. Again, people have different beliefs, right? Depending on if they believe in reincarnation or not. All creations, all thinking. So again, thought is powerful. If a whole collective group is thinking a thing, speaking a thing, it comes to pass. Okay, and we know that. It says, let's see. Furthermore, each person is living out their specific lineage karma. That's interesting. This concept of almost like generational curses, generational trauma, that kind of concept, right? So each person is living out their specific lineage karma. So we talk about even healing slave trauma, right? So because of that type of abuse and things we suffered, that got passed down, and we're still acting out some of those behaviors today. The extent to which the collective uses the life force for harmony, they call it life force, we're going to say the spirit of the Most High, is the extent we will create heaven on earth or vice versa. So this is interesting. The extent to which the collective uses the life force, or uses the spirit of the Most High for harmony, or uses our spirit for harmony, is the extent we will create heaven on earth or vice versa. Right? So if the collective is in agreement that these are the rules, these are guidelines, we want better, then the whole thing changes, right? Or if we are committed to debauchery and wickedness, then that also, it becomes the standard, right? I think about the scripture, they will call that's good. They will call that's good bad, and that's bad good, right? So things have been flipped a bit. It says the disease factors causes by genetics are the sum of the actions upon that lineage. So that's interesting. We talk about epigenetics, right? Where this is where traumas can be passed down, health issues can be passed down, right? So even diseases are genetically passed down, right? Traumas, proclivities for mental health issues, especially within our people, can be passed down. It says new karma is created through new thinking and new actions. So new karma. What is karma, do we say? Life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? It's whatever you put out, you get back. What you're speaking or your behaviors that you enact will eventually grow into something positive or negative. And so new thinking, how we think about things and what we do, will create, is the only way to change that of, traumas or different negatives that are going on in the world. Okay, so one of the things it talks about awaken within. It says addiction or dysfunction may be knocking on a nearby door. And so a lot of us, again, because of traumas that have been passed down and needing to escape, right? We have addictions, right? And so some of you may be struggling with that, where maybe you're trying to not give in to that, but again, things are looming, calling you back to it, right? It says, by drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to heal, right? So we have to heal. And part of that is, we already know when you're dealing with addictions and things of that nature, you have to be aware of who's around you, right? They talk about you have to actually reprogram your entire life, sometimes letting go of people, places, and things in order to move forward. So let's see. It says, by drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to heal and awaken, helping people remember who they are. So wanting you to use yourself for good, right? Helping other people being able to be themselves, connect to their higher self. At the core of who you are is pure in goodness, eternal kindness, and an eternal givingness. So it's this concept, we all start off innocent. We all have that in us. We talk about the inner child, tapping into your inner child and your innocence, giving yourself permission to even maybe participate in things that people think is not cool or corny, right? Being able to be innocent, not having to totally have your whole world consumed with what people would deem grown. Okay. Let's see. It says the universe, but I say the Most High is reminding you to work for the highest good. So we all have a choice. Are you going to work for the highest good? Right? Encouraging, trying to heal others, being that example, or are you going to be the person that is here to test others, as well as that's a role as well, right? Being in that master role, leading people astray, testing them so they can learn how to challenge it and step up, right? Anyone that does not align with this law will take away their own divine powers, right? And so if you don't accept, if you believe it or not, whatever I do is not going to come back on me. Again, that can come back to haunt you, right? Because we know there are consequences to behavior. Experiencing feeling disempowered, right? So you'll end up feeling strong like you're doing things, but a lot of times it will end up backbiting and turning against you to where it's going to take away your power. There is a loving energy in the universe, and what I will say, there's a loving energy within the Most High, right? And you get to direct it because you are it, right? We are vessels. We play roles. What role are you going to play? Here's the journal thing they want you to do. They say, make amends with anyone where there is discordance of energy, meaning anywhere there's some tension, right? Make things right by giving of your time, paying back money, or giving of your time and service. So sometimes we have to make amends, right? Right? Reparations, right? That's something that we talk about with our people. This is a law. There is something about if you don't make amends, it will come back to haunt you. Not only with the individual, groups, races, nations. It works that way. It has its way of finding you. And so we have to think about these things. But also, too, with us, if you have been an abuser, one of the things we want to remember is that you do not go around trying to force yourself around someone that you've abused. The way you want to do that is you don't go, you let them approach you if they want to approach you, but you can privately help with things. If you hear that they're struggling, you can donate a thing. If they have a cash app, you can give a cash app, but you don't go around to see, did you get it? Are you going to thank me for it? Right? There are ways to amend. Or if you struggle with a thing, going to volunteer and find some positive that you can do. Right? Oh, that's a deep one. The law of karma. Put in the comment section your thoughts and feelings about that, right? You know, that word, but then again, a lot of these things are, have you found that to be true? That a lot of things that you look at that's is being called something else, but you can find it biblically. And again, all of us have different beliefs, and that's okay. Okay? And so you have to take the information that resonates with you and leave the rest behind. Okay? Let's pull an affirmation, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay? It says, I am creating the life of my dreams. Come on now. I'm creating the life of my dreams. Right? So this is not an accident. Right? I'm creating the life of my dreams, or I'm creating the life of my nightmare. Right? Based on what my actions and what I'm speaking. So we want to be aware of that. Yeah. Sometimes we look around and be like, what happened and why did this happen? Backtrack, and ask yourself, is anything I did to contribute to that? We don't want to ask that question, but we need to journal about those things. Or even if we didn't technically do anything, but we ignored a premonition or an intuition that the Most High gives us, and we ignored it, that red flag. Okay, I'm creating the life of my dreams, of my nightmare. Okay, and on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end it with our saying, everyone has a right to heal from trauma, without interference, and with privacy, right, and without people's opinion, even a race nation. And until next time, bye.